I'm Paul Wintle, also known as Mr. Wintle, a bit formally, and also known as Peanut for some interesting reason. I've been involved in a number of senior camps at Nevin for the last number of years, and presently working with Mikey, assisting him in the kitchens. So I would say that my favourite Nevin food is probably going to be roast potatoes and gravy, but possibly followed up by some delicious cheesecake. Now, this week we have been thinking about living our best life, and it was this very thought that was given to us on my very first camp back in 1999. I used to be a careers advisor, and my almost claim to fame is that I could have been Kelly Brook's careers advisor had I been there just 2 or 3 years before she'd left. She's made a life for herself, Kelly Brook, despite not having received the best advice from yours truly. And this got me thinking about a verse that I call the careers advisor verse from Psalm chapter 32. So I'll give you a second to pick that up, look at that in your Bible or in your phone. Psalm 32. I've long thought about this as the careers advisor's verse. Psalm 32 and verse 8. I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my loving eye upon you. We so often think that God's best is all about living a morally perfect life, because that's what Jesus had, right? And as would-be followers of Jesus, we need to follow him. And that's right, that's true, and that's our aim, to follow Jesus the best that we can. But then we look at the one guy who wrote many of the Psalms, including Psalm 32 and Psalm 32 verse 8, David. Now, David was a king, and one of his faux pas, one of his big mistakes, was all over bits of the Old Testament. He saw this beautiful lady. He said, I want that beautiful lady. And so he slept with her. She was married. So David, the man after God's own heart, had committed adultery. He had sinned. And then she found out that she was pregnant with David's child. And David was a little bit worried about this, as you can imagine, because the husband was still alive. And so David, as king of all the armies, put Uriah right to the front. And so therefore Uriah was killed in battle in the army. So David, the man after God's own heart, was an adulterer, but he also became a murderer. So if you think that living if you think about living your best life is only about living a moral life, David's example is not quite a great one, is it? And we remember this man, this king, was a man after God's own heart. He had a great friendship with God. Perhaps David took his own advice in Psalm chapter 32, being instructed in the way that he should go. Perhaps when he missed out, he decided that he'd made a mistake, that he apologized and he moved on with his friendship with God. Maybe we can take this advice too. Being instructed and taught is great if you have a good teacher. Careers advice is great if you have a good careers advisor, or if you receive clear instruction. How much better to live the best life if you've got God's loving eye upon it. And so today, may you go into this day knowing that you have God's loving eye upon you. As you seek the way forward, whatever that is, however that may be, may you know that God goes with you wherever you may go.
Your name is victory. All praise will rise to Christ our King.